What do you say to people like listening to this who, may not be a founder, but looking to start a business, a bit of fear around, whether they're going to win? What do you say to those people who want to get out there and do something?
Most people constantly live in fear and paralysis analysis as their usual normal state. I think most of the world's normal state is paralysis analysis and fear. And so if I think of the best decisions I've ever made in the business have been based on my long-term horizon of thinking. Like if I make anything, a decision that's today based on today, it's usually like right there at the bottom with some of the worst decisions I've made in business. Everyone has different struggles in life they go through. For me, my particular one was my health. Some parts not in my control with some major surgeries like open heart surgery last year for myself. And then some parts that are in your control but you don't do a good job of controlling it, which for me was my weight gain. So I've been on a roller coaster with weight even since going back to my primary school days. One day I was fit, then a few years ahead I get really chubby, that chubby kid in school. Now I'm back down to 99 kilos the first time under a decade. When you're in control, if a certain part of your life isn't getting the love it needs to, you can change it. What people should be seeking, financial and all these other aspects play a part of it, but what you should be seeking is control. So now I know that if you drew a line and just cut my life off at any point, that I would be content with it. Success now is different. It's like, hey, what's the potential? Like how far can this version or the future better version of Arjun go to?
Welcome, brother.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me.
I feel like a bum next to you, the way you look now.
Mate, look, it's just, I think it's a few reasons, right? I just feel better in my body as I'm, getting healthier and healthier. And I thought, why not?
You look great, man. I know we're just talking earlier around your weight loss, but for people obviously who don't know where you used to be, maybe just share some context because I think you look fucking amazing. And I know it's not easy to break through, I guess, a big challenge like that. So maybe just share some insight if you can.
Yeah, sure thing. So I think like many people, everyone has different struggles in life they go through. And for me, my particular one was my health. Some parts not in my control with some major surgeries like open heart surgery last year for myself. And then some parts that are in your control, but you don't do a good job of controlling it, which for me was my weight gain. So I've been on a roller coaster with weight even since going back to my primary school days. One day I was fit, then a few years ahead, I get really chubby, that chubby kid in school, then I get fit again, then chubby again, and fit again. And so I had a bit of a roller coaster and I reached a peak of like 138 kilos back in 2022, which wasn't pretty. And I think off the back of it was a couple of things, right? Business growing, lost my family, my mum in particular, COVID, all the lockdowns, everything, all that together. And then now I'm back down to 99 kilos the first time under a decade. In just over a decade, I'm under 100 and make big goals next year, get to 85 kilos and be the best I can be. And for multiple reasons, you get the best energy levels. You give your life a little bit of that extra length. I've got 2 kids. You want to set the best example for them. And you want to just show people around you, whether it be your team, friends, loved ones, that, you can put your mind to anything and just get it done.
Congrats, man. That's a big win.
Yeah, big one. It's a
like
big one.
That 138, that's double.
Yeah,
it's double me.
Practically a whole new human, right? So yeah.
Nice. Okay, so for people like listening to this, I've got a very diverse range of entrepreneurs. Some of them may not know you. Some of them may know you. I know some of them do know you. But I guess for people like looking into you, right? And if they do start researching you, they're going to see like Arjun Paliwal, Investor Kit, the property like data guy, right? But I guess before all this, I kind of want to like step back into like, who is Arjun Paliwal? Like, where did you come from? I know you did work at CBA, but like what happened before then? Like, I know you're a break dancer, like maybe just like a bit of a journey roadmap.
Of course. Well, if I start day one, I'm a kid born in Wellington, New Zealand in Housing Commission that moved over from New Zealand when I was 18 to Sydney, Australia in search for a better life and just to, try something new. I had family here that had moved over first, very traditional things that the dad moves over first, then the kids and the wife follow. And that's what happened. My dad is a mechanic or was a mechanic, retired now. My mother, no longer with us, but back then she was a housewife and supported dad. And so that's my upbringing and family. In terms of when I moved to Sydney, I was into a lot of things. Great, in terms of I was into shooting hoops. I was into dancing a lot, as you said, not the break dancing, but a crumpin and hip hop and all that. Going out, partying, all the things a young 18-year-old comes in and wants to do when they move over, especially from the small towns of New Zealand to the bright city lights of Sydney. And during that time, I fell in love with a career in banking, which, by the way, I got into at 18 as a bank teller. And fast forward from the banking career and, going through all the uni, MBAs and all that sort of stuff, invested a fair bit in property during that time. Moved to today, I run a buyer's agency called Investikit and a group of companies surrounding it across things like insurance and also finance. And as a group, we're an 8-figure business and we employ 80 people. And we've been doing it now for 7 years, helping Australian investors really build wealth and get to their wealth creation goals. And over the last 7 years, it's been an unreal journey, just moving from working in the bank to being an entrepreneur and creating jobs, helping clients grow wealth, building something as well that's special, that can impact so many people. And that's kind of my fast forward of maybe 10 years, a little bit longer than 10 years in Australia. So yeah.
So Investikit was your first business?
First business, 2018 I kicked off, and it's been 50 to 100% sort of growth every single year, and it's been an unreal journey.
What do you say to people like listening to this who, may not be a founder, but looking to start a business, like a bit of fear around, whether they're going to win, succeed, they might be working for in a 9 to 5 like you were at CBA and they want to transition. Like, what do you say to those people who want to get out there and do something?
So firstly, I can only speak to like my mind and the way I was thinking when I went through that moment. And my thinking was I had a, pretty high adversity towards, I guess I had a pretty, put it this way, I'll say this part again. In my mind, I had risk viewed in a very different way.
Okay.
And my view of risk is I don't like it. Back then, a lot less. And I felt like I needed to go in a way that would make me feel comfortable. And to do that, I believe in this concept of creating the best worst case. So if you're someone on that, 9 to 5 that's maybe wanting to give business a go, if you follow what I did, it was creating your best worst case. And so to break that down, in CBA, I had a few things that were going for me in the career growth, building a portfolio. And so you'd look at it and be like, why would you leave? But then if you flip that over and you go, well, I can always come back to that.
Yeah.
That to me was the big game changer to go, I didn't get to that point at CBA when I was at a very mature part of my career. I'd left at 25. And so for me, it's like, okay, if I'm 25, 26, I have a timer attached to it, give myself 4 years. And the reason I chose that number is I fixed home loan rates for that 4 years. I thought to myself, why not?
Yeah.
I had a real estate portfolio that would compound away during those 4 years. And then my wife was supportive and understanding that I'm going to give this a go and she's going to be working and she's going to support that. And she was very kind to put herself in that position, but also push me there. I have a family that's supportive and loving. It's not going to, ridicule me for giving it a go. And then at the same time, I'm not leaving to a competitor. I'll give the longest notice periods. And I'll tell my leaders in my company to go like, hey, I mean, if I've done all right on the way in or during my time there, like, would you give me an opportunity back if things didn't work out? So I just felt like I was like guarding and protecting all of these areas from real estate, time and age, current employment, family support, wife support, and all these things. And you go, wait, you're telling me my worst case is I can just give it a red hot crack for 4 years. And if it doesn't work out, I can just come back. So I think for everyone that's in that space that wants to give it a go, don't think of all the risks and all the dangers and the what could go wrong. Just go, if it did all go wrong and everything went wrong, what does that scenario look like? And could I live with myself with that scenario? And if the answer is no, then maybe it's not the best decision.
Yeah.
But if you can live at that scenario and you can wipe off a certain amount of years and commit to it, give it a go.
I love that risk assessment. What's interesting when you were talking then, I was thinking about the opportunity cost if you didn't do it. Looking at your situation now, 2025, and what you've created and just what you've built, I'm just like, fuck, imagine. Let me ask you this question. I'm just curious. If you were still at CBA or let's just say corporate in banking, what do you think you'd be on? Roughly.
Yeah, look, I think in terms of earnings, I would say maybe a few $100,000 a year is my gut feel of what I would have been on in terms of earnings. Now, just knowing my curious mind, I would have tripped on something and tried to maybe even just think of how I could be the best entrepreneur. But if I just make that a baseline assumption of where I was and where I was heading, maybe somewhere between $200,000 and $500,000 a year.
Insane. Insane, hey? And you're right, like it's not for everyone, like to become a founder and go through that. I mean, you got to be super resilient, hey, to like move through that.
Yeah, I think like the main thing is, look, resilience is one thing for sure, right? Literally yesterday I was prepping for the end of financial year presentation that my team and I are having. We're all heading off to Cairns and we're going to have a good time and just celebrate the year that was. But what happens is if you look at the chart of our last 7 years and just the growth that's been happening, if you look at it on dollar figures, team members, clients impacted, all these different measures, all of that stuff just moves massively on a chart.
Yeah.
But when you look at the percentage growth was always the same. It's always between 50 to 100%, 50 to 100%, 50 to 100%. And so what's really interesting about it is that you can have such rapid percentage growth in year 1 to year 2 to year 3. But because the dollar figure, the team, the clients helped, and all these things aren't massive on a scale, you don't give yourself that credit. And you just think that, oh, it could do better. I could get there. And sure, those are great things to have, but I feel like don't ignore percentage growth. Because I think like when you can look at the percentage growth and just see the growth that's happening, I feel if I go back to year 1 or 2, Arj, and I start to give myself some advice and take some weight off the shoulders to go, but look at that percentage growth. You don't need to conquer everything in one go. And that's who I am now today. Like I think of people going, oh, I'm disappointed I'm not at, 100 million in revenue or thousands of employees or this many customers helped. And in my head now, the Arj is going, well, based on how we're traveling, that's just about 5 years away. So it's like I'm patient more than ever. And so I feel, yes, the risk tolerance and like the resilience needs to be high. But just coming back to that resilience piece, if you can just take that tool of percentage growth and thinking of business and life in that way, same with my health, right? It's like, hey, I lost, 15% of my weight or 10% of my weight. If you just extrapolate that out, you go, wow, I'll be here by year 3. And so I think whilst, yes, resilience is super important, patience is the superpower to give you that resilience.
Yeah, I love that. And, you mentioned like 2 things like patience, but also taking that long-term view rather than just like most people want to just do it now. And I think that's been a problem of mine, I'd say historically, which is just now. And then I lose track because sometimes I don't want to follow through with something for a period of time.
Yeah, I think like the whole wanting everything now, whilst there's one upside from it, it makes you go into this deep thinking of unpacking problems that you usually wouldn't unpack with a mind that lacked urgency. Like that's the great part about it. The main part about it though is that you just lose that perspective of the decision making with the highest level of quality. Like most of my decisions, if I think of the best decisions I've ever made in the business, have been based on my long-term horizon of thinking.
Good.
Like if I make a decision that's today based on today, it's usually like right there at the bottom with some of the worst decisions I've made in business. But then if I think of just going back to, I'll give you an example, last year, back against the wall moment, I'm told that I'm born with a defect in my heart and I need to go and have open heart surgery. There's 2 things you can do here. One part of me was, I just want to drop everything. I don't know if I'm going to live. I don't know how long I'm going to be in this earth. My doctor told me if I don't get the surgery, I'll only be here for a couple of years max. And hearing that at age 32 or just before 32, 31, I'm like, what do I do? And so the short-term decision was, hey, I've got a good business. I could just make it lean and tidy. Obviously in the nicest way possible, in the most humane way possible, I will go, hey, everyone, time for you to find a new opportunity. Let's move on. Let's do this. Hey, customers, like we're going to take on less of you. I could have gone in that direction. But then another decision was, well, this is your fault for being in a position right now where this has come up and you don't have a leadership team that's scaled. You don't have system and processes that are scaled and really well laid out. You don't have a great CRM structured in a certain way. You don't have all these tools. You don't have all this support to your team in a way where you can just fully trust and let everything go. Like, Arj, shame on you for not being there for that. Like you're 6 years in, why not now? Like, yeah, everything's hard and tough and business is good and growth was great, numbers look great, but why don't you have all of that stuff? And so I said to myself, well, what's stopping me? I mean, like nothing literally. I have no choice. I have to make a decision in one of these two areas. And I chose the latter, the decision that would go set up InvestiKit for decades. So that long-term framework of thinking came through to go, well, I'm talking about losing life here. So what's the issue with losing hundreds of thousands or maybe 1 million or 2 million if I don't make the best decisions and I move on and this doesn't work out? But the other side of it working out is team members will have careers that can go on for many years and decades where they can scale their growth with us because of so many layers of leadership and opportunities. My team members will achieve all their financial goals. My customers will achieve their financial goals. I can help more Australians out. My family will have more of me and more of me at home, more time back in my control. Everything that you could think of in that long frame of decision-making, like, was going to be better. And so I committed to that decision. And in the few months leading up to surgery and the months after, we scaled like no tomorrow. And so I just feel like in business, the longer that you can make that decision and you realize that from a 6-figure founder to a 7-figure to a multiple 7 to an 8-figure, you're not really living a bad life, right? So just, make that time frame longer, quote unquote, eat shit for a little bit, or, just eat something that's not the caviar that you wanted, right? Or you see on the other side, and just realize that it will get better in the few years. And if you ask anyone that, hey, not sure about where it could be, not sure of the decisions, not sure of the outcome, but you might get everything working out for you in a year, or it works out in 5 years for sure if you follow a proven systematic pathway. And you'll be surprised that, so many people would go for that 5 years if they knew that it would work out for sure, if they could think about it long term. So I just think for myself, that long-term frame of thinking has been the biggest game changer in my personal growth. And it will be for all the years of what we achieve moving forward. It will just be because I thought as long-term as I possibly could.
You've been in business 7 years?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of mistakes we make as founders. Like, there's problems every day that we're solving. Retrospectively looking back, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you think inhibited where you needed to grow, to go as a business?
The first part of me, I'd say, actually the first mistake I'd say is personal health. That roller coaster that I went on in terms of weight gain and how all that impacts your energy and decision making, that's the first part. If you're not looking after your personal health, you're just going to be left behind in business, in my opinion. It's going to catch you somehow, some way. Whether it's a forced event in health, whether it's loved ones in relationship because you can't balance or can't integrate your family, personal life, and work life well, something's going to catch you off guard. But the second thing would be that delegation. Now, I get delegation. I think most people get delegation wrong. They just think it's hand it and disappear. So where people make mistakes here and where I've made mistakes too, is you go through these phases. The first phase is you delegate, you don't delegate. That's the first issue. You just don't delegate. And so as a result, that's the first mistake. You just head down, in the sand and you're just pushing away, or you're getting through stuff and you think it's a productive day, think it's a great day, but busy isn't successful.
Chief everything officer.
That's it, right? So being busy isn't successful if it's the wrong type of busy. And so the first thing is that. But the second mistake of delegation is you think that just hiring a bunch of people and giving them everything and then blaming them if it's not going well, you think that's great. Because, hey, I delegated, people should be better. That's the second mistake. And so to get past that, it's you need to actually, check the checker, right? You need to create audit systems. You need to create support systems. You need to make sure my team members clear, capable, and motivated. Right. So from my perspective, I think delegation, people have it all wrong. They swing in two ways. I will do everything because I don't trust anyone. And I'm not delegating, and that's the core problem. Or the other problem is I've got all these people, I've hired them, no one's good, talent's bad, it's not me, it's them. I need new people, I need better people, and I give them everything and they're not doing it the way I said or should have, should be better. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes in business that I personally went through, which is these two extremes of delegation. One side here, one side there. So getting that right has been one of the biggest game changers outside of health. And then,
sorry, before you mention the next one, I love this delegation topic. I just want to I want to double click there. I totally agree with that. Like first is like, I need to do everything myself. No one else can do it as good as me. So I'm not going to hire for it. Second is hire, just off you go. If they fuck up, play victim, blame. My question is, what did you do in order to then, I guess, find the right people, empower them, and have that, I guess, delegation working like an art? Like, what did you do and what did you learn?
Firstly, it's a really good question. Culture.
Yeah.
And now it's a word that people use with fluff, like culture, man, like, but it's actually like the most important thing. And I think when you look at culture, it's basically having a set of vision and values where you reward and have consequences and you can actually stay true to them. And so the thing here is that, to me, culture was the most underrated part. But what's funny is that when you go into corporate world and you go into starting a startup, you think the opposite. In the corporate world, you're like, oh, all this fluffy mission, vision, values.
Yeah.
The operating rhythm and all this sort of stuff. And you're in the corporate world and you're like, I was a young teens or early 20s like that. And then the opposite is you go into startup land and you're like, yeah, we're free, we move, we're not corporate, we're not slow like them. But when you get to a certain level of maturity in life, desire in terms of what you want and what you want it to be like, and then also seeing that long-term decision-making, you realize that stuff was not fluff. If done well, if done with the right intention, if done with genuineness, it's the most legit thing a business can have. And so when I talk about it, our values, growth, clarity, humility, results, diligence. When you have these values and you can break down with definition what they mean, you can give clarity to team members to go, hey, living the values in this way is good, below average, great, remarkable, excellent. You can break this down with clear examples of what it means. You can invest in everyone's capabilities and skill sets and give them the training so that they can display the vision and the values to the levels you want. And most importantly, is a system that always has rewards and consequences. And so I feel like if you can set up the values to an actual standard that is rewarded and consequences are in play, and everything is a true system that helps people live to that, your customers, your team, your whole environment, when it comes to delegation, like there is an operating system that exists that people live by. And so I feel like when you truly have a high performance culture, all the delegation things that you have, it's driven by your people first, rather than needing it to be about all the perfect decisions you need to make. The pressure comes off you. Like, I don't need to be the best recruiter.
Yes.
If my culture's right, because you attract the best talent. I don't need to be the best manager because people are coming to you in this high culture or high performance culture, wanting to show you what they've done, showing you the impact that they've made, telling you and reflecting so well because they're so reflective of their situation of where they could be better. Seeing something that maybe didn't float well with what they should have been displaying, making it known and asking how they can get better. So I feel like if you can set up the right culture, even if you're an average leader or a manager or a delegator, you will be set up for success. Just because this whole system keeps everyone together in the most engaged way possible. So I feel like that's probably the biggest change for us when it came to delegation with success. It was actually the culture that we created.
You mentioned around like the values around rewards, consequences. I mean, I interviewed a guy last year, Toby Pierce, who sold his business for $250 million. And I asked him about values. And because you're right, like at the corporate world, you see values all over the wall. And it's like, what do they mean? And he made a comment that they make all their decisions around the values. And when decision making is not made around the values, then it's kind of just fluff. And I love what you just said then, because I think to build a good culture, that's what you need to do, right? They need to be like part of the DNA, not just words on website, wall, playbook.
Yeah, if it just comes up in your end of financial year presentation slides or a Christmas event, you're not really living by it. Like it needs to show up everywhere. Like from your PDs to your, presentations to your team, to when you reward them and incentivize them, it's backed on something, to when you have a reward and recognition system, when you have consequences and you can give clear examples of things not going well in line with their PDs or KPIs or how they should be supporting a client. When you give them coaching and feedback and you give them insights of what they could have done versus what they did do, how to improve on that skill and the why you're improving the skill, it all needs to come back in every single interaction.
Yes.
And like the standard that you set of your, call it worst or lowest performing team member to live up to these, and the standard that you set of your best performing team member to not be the cowboy that doesn't live up to these, or cowgirl. And the main thing is that top and bottom leadership and management is how you're truly displaying it. Because if you can't have the top and bottom really cemented with like, hey, you're doing great in these numbers, but you weren't displaying A, B, or C. And if you don't have a consequence system, or if you don't have a coaching and support system in there to help that person recognize that, or move that person on if they're not fitting the values and what you expect with your customers and your team to be treated, you're not actually truly living in them. So I feel like when you do these things, your whole operating system is very forgiving. Because you can have days where maybe, you didn't have the best delegation like I've learned, or didn't do it as well. But the system, the team, the people, we all pick it up together. Because we all know we're headed in one direction. We've got a clear vision. We've got goals where they feel rewarded. They feel they're getting professional, personal, and financial progression working in your company, which we call PPF. They have a system of values that they can have. It's like, hey, if I feel like I'm about to make this decision and it doesn't feel right, can I go to this place where I can just see if I'm doing this right or not?
Yes.
So it's just so underrated in terms of its impact. Like I feel truly like it's not the next marketing campaign. It's not the next technology integration. It's not the next AI thing. Like that is the difference between us from a multi-7-figure to a multiple 8-figure company. That is the difference between where we are today to when we'll be a 9-figure company in the future, is just how long we can maintain, sustain, and build and improve on this. Everything else can be hired for.
Yes.
You don't have to be the marketing genius. There are people smarter than me out there. You don't have to have the latest AI knowledge. Someone smarter than me knows enough about it. I can bring them into the company.
Yes.
Like I feel like once you get into a certain level of momentum, financial decisions can solve and plug in every problem from a strategic and tactful element. But if you don't have the culture and that sort of system set up right, you're not going to go anywhere sustainably.
Delegation's an art, I think, as well. It's such a under-recognized skill that you're not taught about when you start a business. Like you don't hear about delegation. I mean, I think like Dan Martell speaks a lot about delegation, but you don't hear about it in the open world. And it's something that you've got to go through by being the chief everything officer, trying to do everything. You then become the biggest bottleneck. And then as a result, you need to hire. Then you fucking make bad hires and you're like, I shouldn't maybe hire. And so I feel like delegation provides leverage. And it seems like you're in a state of leverage now where I'm assuming, I mean, we haven't caught up in a while, but I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, right now your business is probably at its best level in terms of performance. You've got the most people, correct me if I'm wrong, by the way, most people, and I would say you have more time and less meetings in your calendar. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. It's full control.
Full control.
It's just selective. So for example, I have structured my days where Monday to Wednesday, I'm at home with my family on most weeks.
Yep.
Thursday and Friday, I'm in the city to batch meetings and catch-ups. I stay in a singular place when I batch those meetings and catch-ups. Everyone comes together to meet with myself, or I'm meeting with them in this one place. It's a lovely place. We've got a members club that we sit in. And then Wednesdays I dedicate to staying close with my day one clients who supported me when I first started. I never forget that without them, none of this happens.
When you say you spend, like you go see them?
So I have a Wednesdays, as I call it, my reviews day.
Okay.
Where I connect with my original clients who'd been with me in 2018, who I'd personally supported in 2019. And those original clients, I have back-to-back Google Meets or lunches and dinners with them, depending on where we are. And I just want to make sure I stay connected. It's this thing I feel so good about. I'm like, hey, I pinch myself every day realizing 7 years on where we are on all aspects of life, personal growth, professional growth, financial growth. And I go, yes, the team, yes, the business opportunity, yes, the skills that we've deployed, yes, the results we've gotten for clients, but it doesn't start and it doesn't happen today without those people who first backed you.
Yes.
When you were no one, right? When you were that young kid, high energy, trying to help out, they didn't have to go with me. So that 2018 to 2020, those first couple of years, those people who just were the supporters, I still catch up with them just because of that feeling of like I owe them everything.
Phenomenal.
For, putting me where I am. So that's what my typical week looks like. But then the best thing about it is if I want to go and get up and go, you know what, next week, just no meetings. We can just make that happen. So I think the control part has been the biggest part, Because when you're in control, if things aren't going as well in certain areas, you can change it.
Yes.
If when you're in control, if a certain part of your life isn't getting the love it needs to, you can change it. And so I think what people should be seeking, financial and all these other aspects play a part of it, but what you should be seeking is control. Because as soon as you have that, you can move that dial wherever it needs to be. Whether it be finances aren't going as well, you can shift the focus and energy. Whether it be your family and love life or personal life isn't getting the right time, attention, or deep detail that's needed, you can shift the energy. Whether it's team members who aren't getting the right coaching support or energy that they should be, and you need to investigate, look deeper, unpack it, and create new systems to make sure that they get that, you can do it. So I think the number one part where the business can really grow beyond the culture that you create is the founder's control.
Yes. Has your definition of success changed from when you started InvestorKit 7 years ago to today?
Absolutely. It's massive. It's changed a lot. What it used to look like was a bunch of metrics, and what I would use these metrics to do is call it impact.
Okay.
Customers helped, jobs created, revenue earned, profit earned, time units back, whatever it was. So it was very clear, which is great. It was like driven in areas where I wanted to drive metrics forward.
Okay.
But what's changed today is just one simple thing. Everything there is a outcome of what I feel success is, but success to me is just living to your full potential and realizing that full potential. And so for me, it's like, okay.
Sorry, when you say living to your full potential and realize, like, what does that mean?
Yeah, so to me, it's like when you cross certain metrics, like if say the world stopped today, my heart ticker just suddenly pops on me today. I could look at life and go, was my family given the best life possible at that time for what I could do? Yes. Did I really focus on my health a lot and improve that a lot? Yes. Did I create many jobs in Australia and help grow people's careers and impact their financial lives, professional lives, personal lives? Yes. Did I help many Aussies build lots of wealth and generate over $500 million in equity for Australians and purchase over 2,000 properties? Yes. So I feel like if you just drew the line on it today, that'd be success when it comes to the old Arjun metrics. Every part of life, holistic metrics though. Time, family, health, wealth, customers, team, everything.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that was a bad one, but that's just the old me. So now I know that if you drew a line and just cut my life off at any point, that I would be content with it. Success now is different. It's like, hey, what's the potential? Like, how far can this version or the future better version of Arjun go to? Like, am I living to that? Am I fully realizing it? Like, have I run into all those metrics? Have I run into a brick wall and I just can't move the dial on any of them? My intellect, my relationships, my connections, my effort, my energy, my everything that I could contribute here just can't move any of these dials further. Health, wealth, personal, it can't. Like,
yes.
I'm not there. Like, I'm not at that level where it can't move all these dials further. So to me now, success is defined as just that. It's like living and realizing your full potential. And so to me, it has no end. It's like, okay, whether I'm 40, 50, 60, 70, or 80, if there's some part that can be improved, I'll just keep improving it. I'll be as holistic as I can be, customer, team, life, or health, wealth, relationships, family. I'll still be the same holistic, view on everything. But success now is just like, just infinite until everything is fully met. And so now it's just a journey where every year I'm just trying to go, where can I get to? Could I be fitter? Could I be a better dad? Could I be a better husband? Could I be a nicer leader? Could I be creating more jobs?
Yes.
Can I earn more money? Can I have more freedom and time? Can I give my family better experiences? Can I give back in my foundation and charities more? So it's more like all the metrics, if you drew my line today in life and just said it's done, I'm content, I'm happy. But now it's like, hey, success is living and realizing your max potential. So it just never ends. It's just like, unless I'm fully blocked on all these metrics, it just keeps going. And so success is living to that and trying to keep realizing it.
Yeah, you strike me as someone who's self-aware and you're constantly optimizing in all areas of your life. Like we were talking before the podcast about you live on this incredible 5-acre property, 50 minutes from the city, and your whole family is there. And like I think it's really fucking cool. Like you've got your father in there. I don't know. I mean, Lee's family's there.
Yeah, everyone.
So
So,
everyone's
14,
there.
15 of us.
It's amazing.
I've got 2 kids. My brother's got 2 kids. Our partners and I, we live in the same house. The next door house we own as well. And my dad, stepmom, stepsister, sister-in-law, mother-in-law, a couple of dogs. So there's like every culture. There's Vietnamese, Indian, Scottish, Maori. Like there's every type of culture in this house. But yeah, I'm literally just trying to optimize every part, because it's like I said, it's like I'm content. So now it's just, why not just live a better life on all those holistic rankings and just keep seeing how much you can make it better. And then the moment I feel like all of them have reached their limits, cool, success is it. I lived and realized my full potential.
Do you set goals?
I do, heavily.
Do you follow a certain framework or?
I use the framework that I learned from Brandon Dawson and Natalie Dawson, which I call PPF.
Okay.
It's personal, professional, and financial goal setting, 1, 3, and 5 years. So each of these categories, I have 1 to 3 things personally I want to hit.
Yeah.
1 to 3 things professionally, skills, learnings, business achievements, and then 1 to 3 things financially. I then break them down to short, medium, long term, and that's a big part of my goal setting. So that's me doing smart goal setting,
Okay.
and that's one side. And then the other type of goal setting I have is vision related. So just like things I want to do just because. And I have that actually on my phone. So over here, you'll see this thing on my phone, which is basically on the top left. It's got the
Six pack?
Yeah, it's Bollywood's best rig, right? So this actor there, Bollywood's best rig. I've got a private jet on the right, so I can be anywhere, go anywhere, family, team, friends. I've got 3 beautiful children, like 3 little kids. I've got like sports. I've got my foundation, my group of companies, my book, being on Shark Tank, being on Netflix, a few different things here. So I have 2 ways I goal set. One is a very strict framework, PPF. And then one is I capture my personal visions of things I'd love to have and do at some point, put it on my phone screensaver, so every time I open my phone, I see it. And I work through both of these and keep refreshing them each year.
I just want to rewind back to something, because you shared something that I thought was brilliant. You talked about when you realized you had a heart problem, you had to go through open heart surgery, and you basically said you had 2 options. Like one is to kind of strip everything back, lean it out, potentially shut it down, or like what you mentioned is you noticed there was all these problems which were opportunities, like you hadn't set up leadership team, all the systems and processes, infrastructure, etc. And I just think it's brilliant. Like I just love hearing that, just someone who you could, the easy option is just to shut it down or lean it out. The hard option, even though despite you having surgery, is like, hey, there's all these holes in the business and it's not giving me leverage to scale, and I want to solve them. And you've obviously solved them, and your business is in the best position it's ever been. And I just love seeing when someone's going through whatever adversity it is, and they just flip it and look at it as a positive, as an opportunity. I think it's amazing. And I wanted to touch on that because like it's so easy for you just to say it, but I think it's really hard to embody that and execute on that. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you. I think just hearing that back, it makes me think of 2 things. The first thing is the same old Arjun came back again, which was, what's my worst case?
Yeah.
My worst case was, dude, you're going to pop. Like, give it a go. Do you know what I mean? So your heart's going to pop. Give it a go. Or you could always shut down. You shut down. And so I think knowing that old Arjun mentality came back, the one that got me into this all as well, which was, hey, what's your worst case? All right, cool. That's your worst case. Does that look like you could do it? Like, sure. Okay, let's go give it a go. And then the second thing is, I think moments like that prove that most people constantly live in fear and paralysis analysis as their usual normal state. Normal. I think most of the world's normal state is paralysis analysis and fear. And so when it takes those events and adversity to break through to the other side, you're breaking those 2 considerable like normal habits, which is paralysis analysis and fear. Because what that shows to me is that would have been possible the year before, the year before that, the year before that. I mean, sure, I had more scars and learnings, and there was a little bit of higher, I guess, intellect as you go on in anything when you have more learnings and scars and things.
Yes.
But the same framework of decision-making could have been made prior. Meaning anyone listening who's in a business or starting a business and they go back through their life, Like you should look at this and be like, it shouldn't need to take adversity to just go and give it a go, or go commit to something, get out of fear and get out of paralysis analysis. And so I think if you combine those three things that we've just talked about today, which is, breaking through an adversity and then having a different state of mind, looking at really the true drivers of business success and that culture, that's the foundation that lays it all, and everything else is just a plug-in. And then the last part is like such a long-term frame of thinking. If you have these three put together, like that to me, I feel is my summarized recipe for where I'm going to go. And if you just have all these three things to put together, and your definition of success is now just going, hey, I want to have a holistic life and I want to see how far I can take it. Very few things are going to get in your way to stop that. And so I think that's probably my recap of just hearing what you said to me then.
Have you heard about Zone of Genius?
No.
So there's a concept that, as a founder, you need to work out as quickly as you can, like, where's your best use of time? And that's called like the zone of genius. And you want to get to that place as soon as you can. So all of your energy and your efforts and your throughput is just lays it in on that. Where do you feel your zone of genius is?
It's actually a really good concept. I feel my zone of genius has only been unpacked in the last 6 months for myself. So it's quite recent, like 7 years to learn it. But where I think I have two things that just help me get ahead. The first is I'm really good at problem identification. Like, I don't know all the answers and I don't know all the ways to get there. I just really know that when I see a problem, I can see one.
Yeah.
And I can see it earlier. I can see the impacts of that problem and what it could create for us. I could see how it became a problem, why it's a problem. So I feel like I've learned that my natural state of mind is operational leadership.
Yes.
Like problem unpacking, like realizing that. And so the second part to it, which has actually helped me do something with that, has been that because of the growth of our team, it's placed me in a position where I actually physically cannot move many of the dials myself anymore. You put me on a bunch of calls with new clients, even if I had 100% conversion rate and I had all my new calls to me as part of one of the team members, and you limited my calendar capacity, I still couldn't do what my team does, even at 100% conversion rate, simply because of the fact that the units of time are maxed out in a person.
Yes.
You do with me and copy paste me in every part of the division as a single person, I just cannot move the dial because my team's at such a level of scale now that it's like I can't physically one person do it all.
Yes.
So the forced part of me being in a position where I have to trust, give others the opportunity, bring other people smarter than me, better than me, give people resources, opportunities, systems, tools, engage agencies, engage mentors, combined with I believe my core superpower, which is operational problem identification. That's been where my zone of genius now is, that I'm forced into, I cannot actually physically do something. So I have to get others to be better than me and do them better. Combined with my ability to look at a problem and go, oh yeah, that's a problem because of this, and I saw that problem, that's going to create this problem. And so I feel like now more than ever, I'm leaning into that it's okay to not know all the answers, all the solutions, but you find a problem, put me into it, and I'll just figure out the problem. But I won't figure out the solution, I'll figure out the problem deeply. And then that's when people around me go, oh yeah, we should do this. What if we did this? And I just become a yes person and go, yeah, why not? Sounds good. So I think that's where my zone of genius now is, operational problem identification. And then because I'm forced to, just giving it out to others to help me solve it.
What's your relationship with problems? Do you like them?
I just know they'll never not exist. So like you have no choice but to embrace like the learning around it.
Yeah.
No matter what part of life is successful to a certain extent, like they're not going to not exist.
Yes.
So I just feel like, okay, cool. Then nothing's not going to be there. So might as well just be good at picking it up and figuring it out and unpacking what it means, why it means that. And so my relationship with them is that, hey, I know you're not going anywhere. Let me figure you out.
Yes. InvestorKit, I want to just touch on that. What does it mean to you, the business InvestorKit?
So when I wind back to some of those metrics I was talking about, which was financial growth, personal growth, professional growth, teams impact, customers served, jobs created, the team hitting all their personal, professional, financial growth too, customers doing the same. I think of it as now just this vessel.
Yeah.
Where it's like, sure, people can talk about, oh, my business does this so well and we're the best at that. Like, put that all aside. Just put that all aside. Put business competitive advantages and everything that we do and we feel we do better aside. I think purely of it as a vessel. And this is this vessel that can go and basically say, hey, if you're someone who demonstrates these values, skill sets, and passions, and you have these personal, professional, and financial goals, jump on in. This thing can do it for you. If you're a customer, any Aussie consumer that's out there and going, I want my future life to look like this, with my wealth to be in this position, my kids to be in a better spot, me to have time back, me to have this, jump on in. We'll get you there. So I feel like it's this one ship now. It's there. And it's just basically any team member who meets this ethos, like meets this values-based system, that has that work ethic, that has goals, can elaborate on them, and has a desire to help someone, and then they want to jump in on that, and then a customer that goes, I want my life to look like X, let me jump in on that. It's that. It's just become this vessel where everyone can go and say, we want our life to look a lot better. That's the thing you go to. And so I feel like put all the, we research like this aside, we do all that. This doesn't do all of that unless you have competitive advantages or you have USPs. We've got a bunch of those. But if you put it all aside and you ask me, what does it mean to me? It's creating the best ship here so that any customer can come into or a team member can jump into and just drastically change their lives. That's it.
Brilliant. I want to talk about the buyer's agency industry. You said the word USP. I'm curious to understand, like, there's quite a few big players out there. You're one of them that focuses specifically on investment only. Everyone says they're the company of data. There's all these research analysts. I'm curious to understand, like, what do you see your competitive advantage? What do you see as InvestorKit's competitive advantage compared to just other good players that whoever represents good in your eyes? Like, what do you genuinely see as your unfair advantage?
I think, like, in an industry like real estate, it's never just this one thing. It's a stack of many things, and they come up to be that difference maker.
Yeah.
So firstly, for us, it's the fact that when you have companies that get to a certain scale of people, if the value alignment, if the service and process, if the layers of leadership, if the people you bring on, if everything just isn't all to such a high standard, that alone becomes a problem in your business. And if you don't have that right, even if you're at scale and even if you might do volumes, all your USPs start to fade away because the delivery vehicle isn't quite right.
Okay.
And so the first part is, I feel like we've got genuinely the best team in the industry that lives through all the values and all the ways of operating, so a customer can feel like that one person, even in such a big machine. And I think that's the key part, is that you can
That's
go
a big
to,
one.
Yeah, you can go to someone because you feel like when you go to a smaller operator, you go there because you want that.
You want to deal with the founder or like at a smaller team.
You can get that here, right? So that's how we're able to do that. That's one part.
I haven't heard that before.
I mean, it's just because people are trying to target that next sexy sounding thing.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing is, you want to feel like you're not a number, but you also want to have the trust, the credibility, the comfort that you're dealing with the best in the industry.
Unreal.
So that's the first part.
Unreal.
The second part is, yes, there are many claims to data. I have this data, or I have that data. But at the end of the day, even the stock market's data is out there for every punter, from the person in their bedroom who can read a certain chart through the person running a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. Right? And the difference is one person's just better at consistently interpreting it all.
Correct.
So that's the second part. You don't want it without, you want it without all the promises or the sizzle and all that sort of stuff. You just want someone who can interpret the best because they've been doing it for so long. They've been back testing. They've been investing in their testing. They pay more than anyone else for data. Like right now, there isn't any operator in the country that spends as much as we do on data alone. So that itself is a part to go, hey, we're willing to invest on it because we want to get better at it, because we want to keep having a better outcome for it. So
Got it.
The second part is interpretation. And that comes from the time, the skill, the team, the investment. The third part is the actual relationships we've built. When you're acquiring over 1,000 properties a year, like the relationships that you build across the country at a national presence mean that when deals flow through, they usually flow through to us first in many occasions.
Got it.
because you're just basically going, hey, we get the first look. Our team members are field tripping all the time. Our team members are jumping into locations, meeting with agents, relationship building. We're buying more. From a sales agent's perspective, they'll look at another person and go, I get that you might buy 2 or 3, and you might be a lovely person. You might know me well. You might, get me a gift, shout me a coffee or a beer as well. But this company here, like, they see more, they talk to us more, they're able to do more deals. So as a result, we just get a first peek at stuff. So as a consumer, you're like, hey, I want to go and buy in Melbourne. Well, who's buying the most in Melbourne out of any buyer's agency, as an example? Well, from that perspective, we're able to see more, show our customers more. And then if they are jumping through that next opportunity, it's basically because we vetted it, right? And so I think when you go to the part of that as well, an extension of that is segmentation.
Okay.
So we copied a private bank model that I saw at CBA, which was the segmentation of the divisions means we have the best in each division. So when I first started as a buyer's agent, whilst my customers would love to say, hey, yeah, Arj was the best, he was great, and that's why we love him. Like, I'd be lying if I said that I was the best of the best. Because how can you be when you're early on and you're taking the sales call, you're researching, you're doing your accounting late at night, you're then being a dad, then you're being a husband or anything in life, just having personal hobbies, then you're going and negotiating on properties, then you're going in marketing. You have every hat on as an early founder. Now, I'm not saying that people can't have that to start. I started there. But if you are doing that forever, you're selfish because you're not giving the customer the best of what they deserve.
Good perspective.
So I believe that if Arjun in 2018, highly profitable, lean machine business that tries to do everything, I would never have the skills that some of my buying team members have today. Because guess what? Mehul only buys properties. Max only negotiates and buys property. So they do 5 times to 10 times as many comparative price analysis as I do. They do 10 to 20 times more due diligence checklists and property isolating, like their actual analysis of a place, than I do. They negotiate 10 times more than I do in that early stage days as a founder. So I feel like if you stay small, I'm not saying you shouldn't stay small, but I just am basically saying that you can't say you're the best at what you do when you stay small. Because there are people in my team who segmented across buying, research, strategy building, marketing, technology, client onboarding, client service. They are the best at what they do because they, like anyone, play soccer. You play soccer in practice more than anyone else. You're going to be better than the next person? Yes. So I think the key here is that segmentation is a USP on its own, is the fact that we've segmented so much to give each person that feeling that you're dealing with the best in that area. Like, that itself is a key part.
I love that notion of segmentation because, I obviously speak to people in the industry, and I'll speak to like a founder who's got like 3 people who does really well. And their unfair advantage is like, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, like, you're dealing with me, the founder. But this segmentation is a really interesting perspective because it's like, hey, well, Mr. Prospect or Mrs. Prospect, you can go there, but you might not be getting service the best, because if you come to one of my like specialists who niches only in negotiation, as an example, like you shared, or sourcing or whatever it is, you're probably going to get a better outcome from a team of specialists in specific areas. And I haven't heard that before. And
you can apply it to every part of life.
Of course.
If you go to a PT who goes, I do a bit of boxing, I do a bit of this, I do a bit of stretching, I do a bit of cardio, I'm a PT. Whereas you go to boxing for a boxing coach.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to get a different outcome.
True.
If you're going to go to a GP versus to talk about your heart health, but then you go to the actual cardiologist and the cardiosurgeon for your heart health, do you not get a different layer of depth?
Yep.
Every part of our life is the same thing planted there as well. So they're great starting points. I too was once the GP, helping everyone in every possible way of my business. But then when it comes to segmentation, that was one of the biggest X factors. Now, that's obviously some of the macro pieces. When you get really micro, you go, okay, well, the actual systems and process that we deploy, we have our apps, we have our, tools and calculators that we go deeper on. We have our actual process end to end that we go deeper on. We have our training of negotiation and in that segmentation that we just continue to train on multiple times a week. So I think the main thing is those are the macro pieces. But when you go really micro, there's many other parts of USPs that make a big difference. Our strategy. the due diligence checklist that we deploy,
Yes.
the depths of it. So I think there's lots of micro variances as well when you try to differentiate yourself amongst competitors. But I think if I go back as well to some of the things from like a display of those USPs, like the marketing of it. Firstly, there's a couple of things that we intentionally do at Investigate when it comes to building clients' portfolios. And this has helped us really stay different as well. The first thing is on an actual public forum, our social posts or anything like that, our day-to-day stories, you won't see me or anyone in my team talk about others. I think that's a great
When you say
start.
talk about others, you mean
Other competitors.
yes,
Right. So,
which is great.
yeah, it's a really important thing to actually make sure you never do. Like, I just feel like what ends up happening is people will have a story about a competitor, how they were better or someone else was worse or something happens. Then they'll get a whole bunch of others in the industry like their story. And it's a false sense of dopamine and a fake positive environment.
I think I saw someone online do it to you. Another competitor.
Might be.
In commercial. No, in commercial. I don't see this often, but
Yeah.
I actually think I saw it.
Yeah, look, it could be. I mean, and I'm saying it could happen anywhere, right? So let's just say they do that. Then as a result, what happens is there's this false environment created across them that they're doing great or doing better because others,
Of course.
do that. And so I think that's one big thing that we have at Investigate, which is like, hey, do not make stuff and talk about others and competitors, because every time that you take away from doing what you could be doing for your customers or doing one thing better or learning more for your customers is already making you worse.
That seems like wasted energy, though, whoever does that shit.
Absolutely. So that's one part. The second part is we try on a residential front especially, we don't sell the deal, we sell the outcome. And so the key here is that many in the industry focus on the deal. I bought X. I bought Y property. It returns X. We bought this and it achieved Y.
Yep.
Like everything to do with the property is you turning your liaising with clients into a transaction.
Yep.
What we do is, hey, you might not see anything about a property, but here's a podcast. One of our clients came on, talked about 6 properties with us, their journey, their life, and how it's changed. Or, hey, someone came on another podcast. They went from 1 or 2 million assets to about 12 to 15 million in assets, residential and commercial. And they weren't the high-flying business owner to begin with. They started in a career, they transitioned in business, and they moved their portfolio with us. And so the thing here is that, number one, every single bit of time and energy that you put onto someone else is you not delivering the best to yourself. And number two is if you can make it about your customer's end outcome that you're helping with them, not the transactions along the way. Those have been 2 things that we've constantly tried to do to separate ourselves. So when we're doing the portfolio discussions, that's where a customer should really resonate with us. It's like, hey, you're deciding on who to use? Sure, go speak to the person who's talking about the deal they got. Here's the person who got their goal.
Got it.
That's a big part, I feel, that's helped us in our 7-year journey, is that a lot of it has been about what the person's trying to achieve, their goals, not the transaction.
Yes.
The transaction is just the customer expects a transaction.
Of course.
Why are we paying and coming to anyone if you're not going to get a good transaction? So why am I talking and highlighting the expectation? But what the customer doesn't always expect, because it's such a long tail journey, is that end transformation of their whole life.
Yes.
They know they want it, but they're not expecting that in their day-to-day engagement. What they're expecting in day-to-day engagement is a property that passes due diligence in a growth market that ticks their boxes.
Yep.
So why do people keep highlighting expectation? Like, just don't. Highlight the end outcome. So that's been another big part for us that we try and separate ourselves with, is the end outcome we keep highlighting. Customer was A when he started with us, or she started with us, and now they're here.
We've got to wrap up because you got to get on a plane, but I want to share something quickly. I want to give you a compliment. A buyer's agent, won't name their name, they did a mystery shop. They went through I think it was 3 or 4 of the big buyer's agencies, you being one of them. And when they went through all of them, they said Investikit, hands down, gave me, I'm paraphrasing you, by the way, but basically I felt the most trust. It was the most sophisticated, elegant process that I went through out of all the competitors. So I just wanted to give you that feedback because I think it really ties into what you're saying and what you're sharing around really what you're trying to do at the company. Because that, to me, it's one person's feedback, but I respect what they say, and that's their result.
Oh, thank you so much. I think that's all just everything coming together. The values, the ethics that we want to display, the long-term thinking. Like everything I talked about in this podcast from a business level just applies to the consumer.
Yes.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Yes.
You think long-term as a business owner, think long-term for your customer. Don't cut a corner. You think about the the culture you want to build, like, well, what about the culture that you build that delivers on those outcomes for that customer?
Yes.
And they'll all flow through to your marketing too, the way you talk about yourself. Because if you think about your culture in a certain way, it should show through on the way you market too. So I just feel like that's a really, really special thing to hear. And when I hear that, it just fills me up with energy to know that like everything that we're trying to do and want to stand for, it's flowing through. And I think anyone in this industry should just realize that there are 600,000 almost transactions per year. And I'd say we're in the top 3 largest in the country. And if we're in the top 3 largest in the country and we do just under 1% of transactions that are investment, 1% investment, not all transactions, investment, which are about 35% of the whole transactions. So we do just around 1%, just under, of investment transactions in Australia. And we're already in an industry in the top 3 largest. So if you're already there, why cut corners?
Yep.
There is no shortage of customers wanting or seeking one-day support or a better outcome than them going on their own. Just don't cut corners. Like there's enough time on this earth for us to, get to and still live a great life along the way and those end goals. And there's enough transactions that happen each year for you to thrive as a business. And so if you do cut corners, you're just helping me out. Like you're just helping me out. We're just so long-term focused that everyone who cuts a corner tries to win for today. We just win more tomorrow.
Thank you, Arjun.
Cheers.